Welcome back to Flashpoint. Before the break, we told you about a surge in demand for housing here in the Queen City. And a large part of that is thanks to dozens of businesses coming to the greater Charlotte area. Joining us now is Danny Chavez. He's the Chief Business Recruitment Officer for the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. Danny comes to us from Toronto today, where he's actually there for work. Thanks for coming on Flashpoint. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me.
All right. So from your vantage point, what is the state of Charlotte's economy right now?
I think what you're seeing and what we see from the trend data is that we have a very strong expansionary market right now. We are seeing new business move into the market, but I don't think it has gotten to the point of where recruitment projects have gotten to where they maybe were in the past. I think we're looking at it more as there's a lot of opportunities, quite a lot of projects in the pipeline, as well as a pretty steep qualified pipeline. But as far as expansions, we're seeing many more of those at this point, which is a great indicator for how the overall health of our economy is, because current employers can find workforce, and that is attractive to new employers that we actively recruit.
I mean, and you're in Toronto, but how do we stack up to other big cities right now as far as growth?
I think from a job growth standpoint, we're right there with the rest of them. I think there are certain areas that they're larger metropolitan areas. So if you look at places like Phoenix, places like the DFW market, the normal competitors, Austin, Nashville, we stack up really well against them. I think one thing that's been trending in a really good direction is our quality of life index in comparison to some of those other markets. I also think we're more favorable from a cost standpoint than several of those other markets that we compete against quite frequently.
And when you say quality of life, what does that take into effect? I mean, I think most people would agree quality of life here in Charlotte is pretty great compared to some other cities. But from your standpoint, from your industry, what do you take into effect with that?
Yeah, I mean, when quality of life comes into play for us, it's many different things. It's not just, oh, well, we're 2 hours from the beach, 2 hours from the mountains, we're fall in the middle of it. But do people have wages that meet the criteria to put money back into the economy, looking at things like attainable wages, making sure that we're recruiting the right companies that our counties throughout the region would like to see. We've done a really good job. And one of the strategies that was put in place for when I took on this role was rolling out a regional playbook. So rolling out a regional playbook talks about all those different things, whether it's workforce happiness, whether it's labor participation. Those are all things that drive a lot of those indicators outside of what, the normal, hey, this is a great place to live because it's a low cost place to do business, or a low cost place to live. Those types of things we look into economic indicators for how we determine quality of life. And if people are moving to the area, those are genuinely good things and good trends to evaluate and see how that stacks up.
I want to dig into some of the numbers. Hospitality, one of the fastest growing sectors in the metro area here. As we continue to rebound from the pandemic, how long do you see this trend lasting?
I think from a hospitality standpoint, we're only going to continue to grow in the hospitality space. I actually think in comparison to some of the other normal competitive markets that we see in Austin and Nashville that have clearly defined, hey, this is what we want to have. There's nothing but a higher ceiling for Charlotte. We don't have South by Southwest that's in Austin. It's not Broadway in Nashville, but determining what that looks like, I think a lot of that has been around sports, which has been really exciting. There's a strong history there, and it's only continuing to become more nationally recognized. I do believe we were the third best sports market in the United States. That was a recent ranking that came out. That, I think, continues to drive it, on top of the fact that there are a lot of people moving here. And when people move here, they want to visit their families. Their families start to think about, hey, this is a really awesome place. I mean, I just had my brother and dad into a soccer game, and they were through the moon. It was a really amazing experience to show them what's going on in Charlotte. And I think that's becoming more actively seen on the national scope and international scope too.
It does appear we're losing some manufacturing jobs. Where are those companies? Where are they going?
So we still continue to be a hot spot for manufacturing jobs. As far as new job growth, what we're seeing as an economic trend, and this is throughout the industry, is that there are higher capital investment jobs than there are capital investment projects than there are projects that have crazy amount of jobs. We still see what we call these mega projects that have both, but that is not a common thing throughout the entire ecosystem of what we see for economic development projects currently. So the trends you see have more to do with there's automation taking place. We are still a hotspot for manufacturing projects. I mean, of the 3 projects we've announced this year, 2 of them were in the manufacturing space. Strong growth. Expansions have all been manufacturing for the most part. I think we'll continue to see it not break even, but we will, or be a little bit less than even. But I think we will see continue to see positive trends in it. We're seeing a lot of activity from foreign direct investment projects and the domestic United States right now. We have a pipeline of 7.5 billion in qualified projects. That represents about 78% of manufacturing projects in comparison to other industries that we track. So that's something that, again, I see that maybe being as a not the rule, but the kind of recent numbers that we look at.
Let's talk about another sector, healthcare. Charlotte's getting ready for sort of a boom when it comes to healthcare. We already have 2 big hospital systems with Wake Forest Medical School set to come to Dilworth. This is going to be a big thing for the Charlotte area for years to come. What is it like to attract that sort of talent to the Queen City?
I mean, I think it's an amazing opportunity. In other markets that I've worked before, having similar assets, I think this is something that's been long overdue, and it's a great investment that's going to really put Charlotte on the map. We're seeing an uptick in life science projects like never before. We have about 11% of our pipeline in the life sciences space. That covers everything from manufacturing to as a much larger sector of that being a subsector of it, to a lot of R&D, pharmaceuticals, and that type of research that we're looking to bring in. I think it's been discovered that we have a lot of talent in the market, or that is attracted to the market, which is historical to the Carolinas, but at the same time, our market specifically is getting much stronger in that space, and having an amazing asset like that in the Innovation Pearl District, that's going to be really key for our efforts, and we continue to see the activity around it.
As we start the second half of the year, I'm going to ask you to do a little forecasting. Do you expect some of the same growth patterns to continue for the rest of this year?
I think so. One thing that has been a little bit concerning for economic developers is that, and I would say kind of our counterparts in the industry, site selectors, we're not seeing as many announcements. These companies have been a little bit hesitant to say, hey, we want to do a press release about it. Some have, but even the ones that have are hesitant. Hey, I want it to not go out to huge, media outlets. I mean, which of course it's going to get picked up anyways, but it's something that we really have seen as a trend. I don't see any slowdown. We continue to see a lot of projects in the pipeline, working through our different, travel schedules with going to markets. We see a lot of opportunity out west in the domestic United States, specifically California, Seattle. Those are opportunities that we're going to go after and continue to see projects coming from. But I do not see a slowdown. I hope that the one thing that will change is more of the announcement in the new project space as opposed to the expansion project space, which historically will always lean towards the expansion projects, but having a better balance of what those percentages look like, I think that's going to continue to be the trend.
So no slowdown anytime soon from your vantage point?
I don't think so. No, I think it's going to continue to grow our market, and at the same time, we're going to have projects that diversify what we've seen over the last 3 years. I would also say a return to a lot of office projects. I had mentioned some numbers earlier about 78% of our pipeline being industrial and manufacturing, the other 22% being office. If you asked me that question about what that balance was end of last year, beginning of this year, it was probably about 90-10. So we are seeing some additional activity, and I think that's a good trend for what we're being considered.
All right, Danny Chavez, the Chief Business Recruitment Officer for the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. Danny, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Take care. More Flashpoint after this.